of us are experiencing low mood or depression or anxiety, but all I can say is we have to be strong. I know it's hard, I know it's easy to say it, but I know I can understand the situation at the moment, and but all we have to do is look at the bright side of life. I think we have to stay positive, and and as a way of me staying positive and during these difficult times, I've decided to create my own personal development change grow blog, and this is my pledge for this year at this time of pandemic. Yeah, my pledge to speak out, to speak whatever I want to say and shout out everything in my mind. So, I know it's difficult to express sometimes, but maybe this could help. This is a form of therapy as well. I'm not saying I'm a therapist, I'm not a therapist, but um, saying what I want to say can also help with coping anxiety. I know it's true. That's what one of the therapists that I was able to talk to. So right now, what I am going to share is my thoughts about comparison, since our topic for today is about personality development. And of course, sometimes there are moments where we feel upset, those feelings that pent up emotions that we cannot like, really thoroughly express it due to inhibitions, or sometimes we feel embarrassed or humiliated, or we feel that we are not ready to really engage or to express ourselves, or due to sometimes being too perfectionist as well. Like we sometimes have to think about what other people are going to tell us, and so we're afraid to really speak up. Or there are times when we are very careful of not to make any mistakes because we are afraid of people is going to say nasty things about us, and so we're afraid when we're being you know talked about, and you know will be labeled, or will be like not welcome in the group anymore, stereotype or so-called, or other negative things. It's sort of that. So what I'm trying to say is I've created this personality change grow. This is a blog about how to change some of our negative thoughts, like, or any negative experience that we want to rewire our brain, or when we feel like triggered and that is causing our anxiety. And so um, one of the reasons um, why sometimes we feel a bit discouraged, and one of the roots is from our childhood experiences, and this I can say that majority um, started when you know the person is at a young age, when being compared to another person, or because that's where insecurity starts to grow with comparison. But comparing ourselves is not really right. It's not really good, because we tend to have this tendency of The insecurity is growing. However, the flip side of that, because I know some of you are aware of that comparing yourself to other people is not really good, because it is a form of like insecurity, and that's where jealousy or you're starting to become envious about the person. But what I was trying to express is not that comparing ourselves, but the flip side of comparison, which is what if someone is trying to compare you with another person? And I think that is the worst feeling that you know, you would encounter. Because, say, you do not compare yourself to other person. Because there are really people that, well, who give a crap me compare if if that person is better than me, or who gives a crap. But what if there is someone who tried to convince you that you is lesser than that person? And I think that is difficult if you encounter that situation. So our topic is about that today. Um, when you are being compared with someone else. When you are being compared with someone else, that's where your anxiety triggers. Well, for some people, but maybe for some they don't give a crap about. But there are some people, because not all people are the same. We have to understand that when by the time we were born in this world, we are born in a unique way. I mean, not all people are the same. No, not everyone are the same. And that's regardless of the status or the situation or in life you have, whether you came from a poor family, a rich family, you people are a gift from God. And we are not really born the same. So there is really no point of comparing ourselves to other people. But the flip side, and this is something that we cannot avoid, because no matter how sometimes we don't compare ourselves with other people, there will always be people who will try to, you know, we call them sneaky, sneaky people, when they try to compare us to that person, to make, probably there are lots of reasons behind that, to make us feel bad about ourselves, or all negativity or some, but there is a root to that. So what to do if we are being compared with another person whom we don't give well, whom we don't give a crap to. So when that scenario happens, sometimes we have to reassess. We have to reassess our awareness, because that is what you call sometimes sneaky comparison. Because there are some people who subliminally do it, whilst there are also some people who will do it directly, which is actually good if people are doing it directly, because you will know. But if there are people who will try to sneak it, like subliminally, then that is where you're going to increase your awareness. And sometimes it's hard to be aware of that. So, because I myself was a victim of sneaky comparison. It is when subliminally, well, I don't know, I am not really thinking about this person, and then all of a sudden someone's gonna pop up in a conversation, and then you're gonna tell, oh, this person is this and that, and then what about you? And then sometimes you will just be surprised that you encounter that in that situation. And some of these people, you won't last the less you expect it from people that are your relatives or your family members, you know, or your in-laws, yeah. And that is really disheartening, and it really hurts your personality, your ego, and especially if you are at the stage where you are still young and you need people that you need your family to support you in your crucial, you know, development or stages of your life. And now that I have grown, I've realized that why that thing, why those things happen to me, why are they always comparing me with this person, and why are they always doing that? But you can never be that person, because the truth is you are not born the same. You have a different uh, background in life. You have different parents, and you probably different status in life, so there is really no need to compare the person, or probably the ability, or even though you are the same, like with your talents, you well, say for example the person sings, dance, and you know is also a talented person, and then the other person is also has the same talent as that person, but they cannot be the same. And for parents or relatives or in-laws to compare your you know your daughters or your children, or your, say, your nieces or your nephews to that other person is not really good for the development of the child, because that's where the child develops insecurities. And so it's not really, sometimes it's not coming from the child, the insecurity is not coming from the child growing up, but it's coming from people around that. And if people are trying to put, especially if parents are not around, or if that person doesn't have a parent, and say this person, one of her aunties or uncles say those things to that person, to that child, and so there the child would is helpless. you know the child is helpless. This child cannot, you know will start looking at his or herself, and start to question herself. What am I enough as a person, or is there something wrong with me? Things like that. And so, and that is because why there are sneaky comparisons. Sneaky comparisons happens when the person that does the comparison is also guilty. It's a form of a guilt trip. It is a form when a person is guilty of a situation, and that is why it resulted into expressing this to a vulnerable person. you know but you can you can actually um, reverse it. You can reverse it, that um, situation. It's all in the power of the mind. It's all in the power of the mind. So, but of course it takes time to realize that everything, all those words were already said, things that's been said, there are always reasons behind. So we cannot just assume or jump into conclusion. We have to try to analyze why this person is telling me this sort of things, and why are they comparing me to this sort of things, and why. It's important. It is important. So that's it. So I hope you learned something from me, and maybe this could help you with your mood sometimes, or if you're feeling bad about yourself, or when you're feeling like feeling helpless, or you have questions that are left unanswered, you know. And maybe this could encourage you, and maybe this could lift up your spirit and give you hope in life that um, it is not the end of the world. I know it's difficult times. We are all experiencing this pandemic, and some of us are thinking about the future, and it's not the end of the world. We can all survive this, so keep safe, everyone. Bye.